Well, I hope you had a great Christmas. Get to wear my shirt one more day, and then I guess I got to put it up for the holidays next year, right? Well, I wanted to talk about Kalen DeBoer, given, what his first year looked like, kind of just talk about where we feel like the program is right now. Perfect day for it. Not a lot of news going on, but you know what? The guy deserves some credit. There's some criticism out there. We're going to get into all that right here on the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. So like, subscribe, thumbs up, the drill. And let's get this party started with, a Roll Tide. What do you say, guys? Welcome to the channel, brought to you by Pearl River Resort over in Philadelphia, Mississippi, and also presented by New Life Arts. You got that holiday cash burning a hole in your pocket. Do what I would do with it, and that is pimp out your man cave, your office, maybe your living room, whatever, with Daniel Moore Prints, some of the classics on there, 20% off when you use that promo code Bama Tailgate. Make sure that you slide it in there at checkout. In the promo code section, you get 20% off, newlifeart.com. All right, let's start with this. First off, this isn't a big news day, at least not yet. Maybe something happens later today, but right now it's not. And I wanted to talk about Kalen DeBoer's first year because, it was not too long after right now last year that we showed up. We're getting ready. Nick Saban's interviewing, coaches. And then all of a sudden he just tells everybody, hey, I'm out. And then it's like, what? No way. Like, for real? What are you going to do? I mean, we had Mike Johnson on the show, and he's like, he's not going anywhere. I remember seeing him riding a boat with slacks on, and as a boat owner, I totally get that. Like, the guy that's driving around on with slacks on a boat isn't getting in the water. And, to me, it makes no sense. You wear bathing suit, right? But that's Saban, and now we see him on game day. And I guess, him and McAfee been a good team. He's loosened up some. And honestly, I'm a fan of what he does. I mean, I think he's, really good, part of the show, right? But I liked him better as our head coach. And his last game was ironically against Michigan, which is the same team that Bama's playing this year in the ReliaQuest Bowl. Last year, it was a much bigger game in the Rose Bowl. Michigan really lucky to be in this game, and Bama very unlucky to be in this game. Like for Michigan, this is an upgrade, and for Bama, it's a downgrade. They should have been in the college football playoff, and I've talked about that. We've run around on it. The committee deserves to be fired. They ruined the playoff by not putting teams in that legitimately have a chance to win, and basically the charity trophies that they gave out ruined the games. And none of them were good. And they probably won't be that good the next round either. But with that said, I'm going to start with the good, and then I'm going to get into the bad of the season. First off, when Kalen DeBoer took over, I thought that Greg Byrne did a great job of going out and finding somebody. To me, I would have tried to pay Kirby Smart whatever he wanted to come. I mean, it would have been a great fit, but he's a Georgia guy. He's got that program going. It would have been tough to get him. I would have just offered him so much money that, hey, if I'm not going to get him, then Georgia's paying so much that they're like not happy with us, right? Raise that contract. That takes money out of their NIL, whatever. They didn't do that. Dabo, I would have liked Dabo. Look, I remember Dabo hanging around the equipment room with me back when I was in college. I liked Dabo doing shows with Jay Barker. He threw passes to him as a walk-on wide receiver, and he's won championships, right? And somehow he got that crappy team that he has into the college football playoff this year. And then look, I thought they played the most competitive game in the first round of Clemson. He's an Alabama guy. It didn't work. I don't think they wanted him. I don't know if his contract allowed. I've heard a bunch of different reasons, but they didn't want him. And a lot of you guys didn't either, because I've read the comments, right? So then that led us to like the next round of guys. Mike Norvell, and look at what's going on at Florida State, right? Dan Lanning was someone that they thought about. Like, the guy's got a number one team right now. I don't think they'll win the national championship, but he's a good coach. And then you got Kalen DeBoer. I thought it was a great hire. And from the minute that he's gotten on campus, he's been a genuinely great person. Forget about the coaching part of it, but you can't not like him as a person, right? Just a fantastic guy. And he's done so many things well. He's treated everyone the right way. And, obviously I've told you guys this over and over again. 2 weeks before Brett's heart attack, he came on our show here and totally got Brett. Like, Brett comes in, hey, what do you think about Waffle House? What's your favorite song? Like all this stuff. He's an awesome guy. So I'm giving him an A on personality. Like his personality, Saban never had an A personality. Like he won, so we didn't care. But just like you're not going up to him and asking him something he doesn't want to answer, right? Does that make a good coach or not? No. But I mean, that's just something I got to give the guy an A+ on that, right? He's got to be himself, and he's been fantastic in that area. Recruiting. We know that Saban was the monster of recruiting. Like everybody copies him. Dan Lanning coached for him. Kirby Smart coached for him. Steve Sarkisian coached for him. They all try to copy it and emulate everything he did. And he was amazing at the recruiting element of the job. And so is Kalen DeBoer. Like, look at what he's done. He came in, kept the class intact that Saban had put together. And then his first class right now is number 2. So it's not like recruiting has slowed down under him. And that was one of the things that a lot of people said. They were like, well, look, Auburn got this guy, Brian Harsin, and he sucked. He couldn't recruit, and that's what's going to happen. This is going to be Husky Harsin. And it wasn't, like, not even close. DeBoer has hit the ground running. Like he hasn't slowed down. He talks to everybody. He's got time for everybody. He immediately went out and started talking to high school coaches. He got Ryan Williams. He got Micah DuBose. He got some in-state guys. I think that if there was a criticism in the recruiting, Alabama's got to lock down the state better again. And it's going to take relationships with the players and the coaches. We saw some flips late. Guys that Alabama would have liked to have gotten that left out of the state. But you know what? That was last year. This is this year. They're still number 2, and they're still doing really, really well as far as like the national recruiting. I think they got to lock down the state. But all in all, he's proven, hey, the guy can recruit, and we'll see him put together the 26 class, just like he did the 25, and just like he held on to the 24 class. So good for him. I give him an A in that area, right? Then we're like, well, can he coach? And, I'd say I give him a B in that area. I mean, you beat Georgia, you beat LSU, you beat Auburn. And I look, if you didn't beat Auburn, I'm not real happy with you. I can't give you a good score for your coaching if you don't beat Auburn. But he came in there and took care of business, ran all over them. I loved it. 5 straight wins over them. The Tennessee game wasn't good. And the biggest criticism, and the reason I can't give him an A, and you guys know this, is that the team wasn't disciplined enough to handle success. And that was something we saw in the past, but we didn't really see that under Saban. And having Jake Coker on our channel, doing a show with him on the Cover Crimson channel, he talks about it all the time. Look, at those games you're supposed to win, those were the games that Saban was going to come in and ride you hard. He was going to just get in your butt and make sure that you knew that nothing you did was going to be good enough that week. And then you go in and you wipe those teams out. Losing to Vandy is unacceptable. It just is. And I know they had a good year. This wasn't Vandy from 2 years ago. You got to beat them. And then the Oklahoma game was an embarrassment. And I've heard a bunch of different, scenarios and people telling me stuff behind the scenes that were distraction for certain players. I don't know if any of that's true or not. All I know is that they looked like crap. I've even heard that, Will Venables had our plays. He just, basically could read our plays and they knew what we were doing every time before we were doing it, right? That would not surprise me either. But at the end of the day, they were not good enough to beat us, and they did. And they kicked our butts. Plus, the official made one of the worst calls in the history of college football when he took Ryan Williams' touchdown away. That guy ought to be never officiating a game again to me. But the SEC is not going to do anything about it, unfortunately. They suck at officiating. And I think all of SEC fans can agree with that. But even if you get that touchdown, it still would have been quite a comeback if Alabama would have been able to win that game. Which could have happened. Would have changed the momentum, but we'll never know. With that said, the lack of discipline going into the success that they had, to me, is why you don't give them an A. But look, the Georgia win was impressive. The way they played the first half of that game, the way they went down to Baton Rouge and beat up on LSU, That was impressive to me. Missouri and South Carolina turned out to be really good wins too. Got to get a little bit better on the road. Got to be a little bit more prepared on the road, but it's tough in the SEC when you're on the road. So I give them a high score, a B as far as game management goes. NIL, I give Saban a very bad score in this area. And I've told you guys this. Look, I love Nick Saban. I think he's the greatest of all time. But he was set in his ways, and he didn't have to worry about NIL. Like, look, man, here's how much money I'm going to give you. You want to come here and learn how to be a billionaire or millionaire? Yeah, I'll teach you how to do that. But I'm not, we're not going to get in here. And then when it started to turn into that, I heard story Isaiah Bond going in there and holding his feet to the fire. He's like, get out of here. Like, I'm not doing that, right? And I love that about Coach Saban. If that's even true, it's alleged, but he went to Texas, get your Lamborghini or whatever he's driving. Saban could do that because Saban was Saban, right? He's really the GOAT. DeBoer comes in and it's, Greg Byrne didn't just put out that statement last week because he wanted to. He knew that it was going to kind of go off poorly to some people. But when fundraisers came to Alabama and said, hey, we can help you do this, Alabama stuck their nose up. And now all of a sudden you need that. And eventually you're not. I think they're going to eventually put a cap on the NIL thing, and that'll be great. And it could be, maybe Congress and Senate do something right for once. I don't know. But I think eventually they'll figure out something there. And when they do, you won't have to worry about it. But right now you have to worry about it. When you see Ohio State, they come in and they buy your 3 or 5 best players and then whatever they got. Texas comes in and buys 2 or 3 of your best players. And look, all those teams are in the college football playoff round 2, right? You have to be able to match them monetarily. And I think DeBoer gets it. I think he's out there trying to fundraise. And I think that we just got to continue to back him as he does that. So all in all, with those categories, I think DeBoer had a really, really good year. I really do. I believe in him. There were a couple of times like I'm like, hey man, that Oklahoma game was a disappointment, but we bounced back and we took care of Auburn. I just feel like it's a tough job. This is a really difficult time to do this because of the fact that there aren't any rules, and his personality has persevered. And I would not be surprised. I'm just telling you guys this. I would not be surprised that he doesn't upgrade the coaching staff in some capacity at some point. I'm just going to say that right now. And I'm sure he looks at it and goes, hey, we did this well. We could have done a better job here. I just got a feeling that when it's all said and done, that he'll upgrade the coaching a little bit. Not saying he's going to fire anybody, but I just think that'll happen. And it'll make Alabama better. But all in all, his personality, I really like him. I think that there were some disappointments. I still think they did enough to get into the college football playoff, and they didn't. And that's a step that he's going to have to take. So the next thing is going to be, are you taking a step forward, or are you taking a step backwards next year? And if you take a step backwards, it means you're not in. So they've got to get in. And you look at their schedule, and it is a really difficult schedule. And what we know is that the playoff committee would rather take teams that didn't beat anyone and play anyone tough on their schedule than take teams with losses. And so that's not a good sign for Alabama when you got to play at Florida State, you got to play Wisconsin at home, and then you have that gauntlet, which the SEC put together, where you automatically have to play LSU, Auburn, Tennessee. You got to go to Georgia. You look at the schedule, it's tough. It's not easy. Some of those teams don't play half the schedule that Alabama has. And I think Georgia's kind of in that same spot right now too. You look at Tennessee's schedule and you're like, man, you got like 2 games. Like the rest of us are like every week it's a tough game. So we'll see what happens. But you guys tell me what you think in the comments section and rattle it out there. But I just felt like today was a good day just to kind of talk a little bit about Kalen DeBoer and give you a grade. I think a B+ is what his year was. You got one more game, the Michigan game, the ReliaQuest Bowl. I Alabama could win 70-0. It's not going to change anything in my mind. Now, if they lose 70-0, I might drop that B plus down to a B minus, right? But at the end of the day, if you're not in the college football playoff anymore, you guys are not going to want me to say this, so I won't say it. It doesn't matter. All right, here we go. Let me say this before I get off here. The now that Christmas is over, you're saying to yourself, man, what am I going to do with my time? What exactly am I going to do with my time? And I'm going to tell you right now, Hinder Tonic and Fuel at the Silver Star Convention Center, December 28th. That is a 7:00 concert. You need to take advantage of that. Go over there, hang out, watch some of 90s great rock bands. We gave tickets away to the show. Our buddy Wes is going over. He's going to have a great time. He says he's going to pour some out for Big Sexy Elmo. Brett and I went to a couple concerts last year together. We had a great time. The Boys to Men concert, we both loved Boys to Men. We're sitting over there like singing along like teenage girls. Like every song, we loved it. And it's a really good place to watch concerts too, because it kind of feels like you're in an intimate setting. But tickets are available. Plus, you got Golden Moon Casino and Silver Star Convention Center. Or Silver Star Casino as well. Table game slots. You got the sports book, all that stuff over there. So December 28th, that's coming up this weekend. Take advantage of it Saturday. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right. Hey, thank you guys for hanging out with us. And again, I hope you're having a fantastic holiday. I really do. And we'll talk to you again tomorrow. I'm doing this through the holidays. As long as you keep watching. Now, you let those numbers go down, and I'm going to take a night off. But you guys have been good. You've been consistent. So watch, subscribe, share with your friends. And I hope you're having a great holiday. Roll Tide.
Escape to Pearl River Resort.